It's that time of year when, for many of us in the world, there is a sense of cheerful busyness, a welcomed sense of stress, and for others, an opportunity to disappear and not return until the new year. Christmas has been ever evolving across time, and today, in 2024, there are very apparent blurred lines on how the world chooses or not to celebrate this holiday. We are here to hone into this experience from a generational perspective. And in the spirit of how I personally feel, my aim is to get you feeling warm and fuzzy. Hello, everyone. My name is Goldie, your host for this episode.
And I am Lakshan, and this is episode 13 of Mind the Gen Gap podcast.
In this episode, we're going to navigate the journey of different generations when it comes to Christmas, touching on sentiments felt in different continents, understanding how this holiday has evolved in meaning, becoming perhaps far more secular, and we aim to get you thinking about how you choose to end your year. This final reflection will get you ready for next week, our final episode for 2024, where Lakshan will address the last holiday, New Year. Part 1. Christmas around the world. Well, Christmas brings a range of feelings and experiences across different parts of the world. In many Western countries, it is often a festive season filled with joy, family gatherings, and elaborate decorations, creating a sense of warmth and celebration. I personally resonate with this. In contrast, some cultures emphasize on religious observance, focusing on spiritual significance, candlelit services, and community activities. In others, like parts of Asia, Christmas may not be a traditional holiday, leading to a more commercialized version that is celebrated by some as a time of festivity, but not necessarily linked to its Christian roots. Additionally, in regions experiencing summer during December, such as Australia, Christmas may feel more like a beach holiday, showcasing unique traditions like barbecues and outdoor celebrations. Overall, the feelings associated with Christmas definitely vary, shaped by cultural, religious, and geographical influences. I have grown up in a country where the month of December, all the way till January 6th, the entire country is colored by festive fever, cheer, bright lights, and indulgence. In contrast, I also remember the occasional winter vacation spent in India, where Christmas was less visually obvious, and at best, you may have seen a small plastic tree adorning the vestibule of a fancy restaurant or grander decoration in hotels of bigger cities like Mumbai or Delhi. I actually disliked traveling to India when I was a child because this meant for me being robbed of my Christmas cheer. I never stopped once to wonder how my parents felt about this holiday that sort of just fell into their lap, since both of them grew up celebrating all the Hindu festivals, and Christmas was quite far from their radar, especially with both of them being religious boomers from Southeast Asia. Over time, this has taken quite the U-turn. Lakshan, how do you visualize Christmas in Bangalore today?
So I think Bangalore is it's not a accurate representation of how Christmas is viewed across India, because Bangalore is one of the more well-known cosmopolitan metropolitan cities. Technically, we're not metropolitan yet. I think we are cosmopolitan. So it's one of the few cities in the country where you would expect to see Christmas celebrated with that festive spirit, if not the religious traditional vibe to it as much. The festiveness is definitely very much noticeable, and it's something that I noticed. I've noticed this for years now, especially in my own apartment complex, which you've been to, by the way, Goldie. Where in the clubhouse and all that stuff, there would be like a pretty big Christmas tree set up, and decorations and all of that stuff. It is very much a celebratory period. A lot of fun, a lot of activities and such, and you'd see like a lot of lights, those LED lights in the balconies of many houses over here in my own apartment. And of course, as you spoke about Mumbai and Delhi and these, the bigger hotels and stuff, I can see it happening again beyond hotels, like malls and even like fairly bigger stores and such. While like you said, the traditional aspect of it may not be understood by all of us because we don't understand it very much. Of course, the ones who do practice Christianity, they experience it very differently than the rest of us. But I would say that it's very much the time to spend time with your family, and I think it's being taken in that light, at least in Bangalore and the more well-known cities. I cannot comment on what it's like in the rest of India, but I do know in my own native hometown, it isn't celebrated per se. Of course, there is the diaspora, the Christian diaspora is there that who of course does celebrate it, but it's not. Um, it's a very there's a significant contrast in how it's done in like the smaller cities, quote unquote, compared to like the bigger ones. So I would say that it's a fun time. It's a fun time to be here. There is celebration. There is a nice, positive, warm, fuzzy. I think were the words that you used earlier on when you started this episode. That vibe is definitely there, even if Christmas is not celebrated quite the same as it is in most, primarily Christian nations.
Yeah. I think as I listen to you, what's coming up in a very large sense is feelings are evoked as Christmas comes, contrary to its origins, which are religious traditions. And this is what I want to move on to speak about, which is part two, the secularity of Christmas and how it's become much more apparent in the last sort of 10 years or even more, I would say. So, obviously, whilst Christmas has its roots in religious traditions, it has obviously evolved into a predominantly secular and increasingly commercial holiday. There's a historian called Lisa Jacobson who notes that concerns about the commercialization of Christmas have been voiced for centuries. She says people have complained about excessive commercialization of Christmas ever since its modern incarnation in the modern 19th century. This was done in an interview that she gave for the University of California, Santa Barbara's The Current, the newspaper. She said, "I don't think ambivalence has ever entirely disappeared." So now those who worry, that this holiday has drifted away from its religious origins do have valid concerns. And actually, a Gallup poll that was conducted in 2019 revealed that while more than 90% of Americans celebrate Christmas, only 35% view it as strongly religious. That's a contrast in numbers, isn't it? Nonetheless, Christmas, with its blend of, both pagan and religious traditions, does continue to resonate with a diverse range of celebrants, offering a little something for everyone, just the way you said. Whether it's in your community complex or in malls, you see them celebrate it regardless of each one's beliefs. Yeah. Now, what's happened as generations have grown, I looked into how this holiday resonated with each cohort and what has changed. That's what I'm here to, explore. Now, for baby boomers and the older generations, Christmas has rooted in family gatherings and religious traditions with a lot of homemade decorations and a lot of thought put into them, often handcrafted, even including gifts playing a central role. These traditional practices may have included attending church services, enjoying iconic holiday meals together. I personally grew up at a British boarding school, and I very clearly remember attending carol services myself and singing in them too. Let's put aside the fact that I come from a Hindu background, but I sang carols and I was a part of the community. We were even encouraged to attend church service on Sundays. So that's the impact Christmas had for me growing up. Now, as we enter the era of Gen X, let's not forget that when I was a child, there were a lot of boomers in the main center stage of the world, hence the carol services, the singing, and the church services. Now, once the era of Gen X began, Christmas took and embraced pop culture and was heavily influenced by this. For example, marked by the rise of shopping events like Black Friday, and of course, the incorporation of beloved holiday movies and characters such as Santa Claus into their celebrations. I looked at Netflix this morning and I noted there was an entire menu only about Christmas movies. So, this is something that is clearly to note and how Christmas is viewed in the popular culture today. Now, this generation X also saw a blending of diverse cultural traditions, paving the way for broader understanding of the holiday. I can resonate with this too. I very clearly remember at school we performed a musical every year. And this blended with more modern pop songs at the time, and somehow a Christmas musical became the end result. So we were doing pop songs that were, equivalent to a Christmas musical. That's how the blending took place. It's quite funny to think about it now, actually. Then the millennials came along, and the focus had by then shifted towards creating memorable experiences. Aren't they always about the experiencing different things, the millennials? So rather than accumulating material goods, there was an emphasis on community engagement and travel during the holidays. The rise of social media, of course, further transformed this celebration, promoting sharing and showcasing holiday activities, personalized gifts that reflect individual tastes. Again, I can resonate with this. I have a sister who spends a large part of the holiday season creating gifts for people as part of orders because it's part of her business. And yes, she is a millennial. Now we come on to our favorite generation, Z. And of course, the younger alphas too. The holiday has taken on a more inclusive and sustainable aspect with them. There's a strong emphasis on multicultural awareness and the representation of various traditions, along with a commitment to eco friendly practices. The COVID-19 pandemic obviously accelerated the adoption of digital gatherings in this sense. And what it allowed was families to connect from afar and further, expanding the concept of Christmas across the globe. I realized myself after COVID that suddenly Diwali was on the global map of holidays. And the school that my kids went to had asked me to talk about this festival after COVID. So, in summary, Christmas has evolved. It's evolved into what? A rich tapestry of diverse and inclusive activities and festivities, moving away from its strictly religious roots. It's become a global celebration that reflects the values and priorities of each generation, embracing shared experiences. That's the key word, shared experiences, and cultural diversity in today's world that is more interconnected than ever before. Lakshan, I've said a lot. How are you connecting with this idea of Christmas becoming what it is, given that your priority on this holiday has probably never been center stage, I'd imagine?
Yeah, it's the furthest thing from center stage. I'll have to be honest, but I don't think it comes as would come as a surprise to like anybody because that's just not
Mm,
how I've grown up, right? While I personally don't celebrate it the way it is typically celebrated,
mm,
um, I do use it as a way to celebrate in my own way. At home, whatever way we go about celebrating in general,
mm.
could be going out for a meal, spending time with my friends, or whatever it is. Right? It's to me, it's a holiday where I can just do my own thing, relax, chill, have some
Yeah.
time for myself, or just spend it in a way leisurely, basically.
Mm,
And the thing that I like about how Christmas has changed over time is the fact that you mentioned, how even Gen Z view it in a more diverse and inclusive manner. I definitely do feel a lot more included in this time of the year than I used to be before. Because before it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a holiday. We get a few days off. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to complain about a few days off, but that's about it. That's the way I viewed it, right? But now it's very much different, and I think a lot of festivals that way are also different. Like you mentioned, Diwali also, right? How since COVID, it's even that's become a lot more secular, and even over here, even like Halloween, even
Yeah.
that's become like a whole, like a huge thing, at least amongst the Gen Z crowd, and so much so that for the past few years, we'd get a knock on the door on 31st October, and kids would be all like trick or treat. My mom would be like, "What the hell is this? What's going on?" She has no clue, no clue. And then after, she's like, "I don't know what you want," like whatever it is. My brother and I tell her that, "Hey, no, today is Halloween, and we're typically supposed to give them like chocolates and all that stuff." So like, how am I supposed to know this? I don't know all this. And even this year, we had gone out for dinner because it happened to also be Diwali on the same day. October 31st was both Diwali and Halloween.
Yeah.
So we had gone for dinner, and I think my brother brought it up somehow that today is also Halloween. And my mom was like, "What?" Like he's like, "Halloween. What is what?" So he's like, "Okay, look, hello, hello, ween. What is it supposed to be? I don't know how to pronounce it only." So my brother was like, "Okay, fine. Think of it like this. Hello, okay, hello, ween, Halloween." So that's the way he was trying to get my mom to be able to pronounce it. And then he told her what this is about and all that stuff. And she's like, "Okay, what is the point of this holiday?" And well, honestly, I also don't really know. I know it's something to do with there's pumpkins and all that involved. I know that much.
Pumpkins and all.
Costumes, pumpkins, and the likes.
Ghosts and
Some
witches.
Yeah, something to do with like horror stuff and all. That much I know, but that's the point. No, like I don't. I may not know the what actually the festival was meant to be about, what the meaning behind it really is. But I do very much feel included, or as included as I can feel, because of how people are embracing it in their own unique way. But of course, what you had mentioned very early on in this segment of the episode about it losing not just Christmas, like some of these festivals losing that becoming more commercial. That is definitely the case. I completely agree with that being the case because I have no idea what genuinely is the um, meaning behind Halloween. I just know it's a festival and people celebrate it in their own way. I don't know what it really is meant to be about, and I presume that that's the case with a lot of other festivals, Indian festivals, in the West and around the world as well. But while that is the case, I also love the fact that everybody is a lot more embracing of it and using it as an excuse to celebrate and just uh, experience interesting activities. So
Yeah.
that's what came up for me as you asked me this question, because I'm like, there isn't much to say with respect to Christmas for me, but I do understand the secularity aspect of it because I do feel included.
Yeah. Actually, on the note of blending holidays and, bringing together different cultural identities, I think, to celebrate the same holiday, I have a small anecdote to share, which just came to my memory. When it's Christmas Eve, you're supposed to leave milk and biscuits for Father Christmas. Um, so they leave you gifts, and he's supposed to come down the chimney, and there's a whole, I mean, we believe in Santa, right? So we're keeping this child friendly this episode. And I remember my children one year decided that they obviously had to leave milk and biscuits for Santa, and I didn't have any milk at home because we'd forgotten to buy. I was going to buy maybe the next day or something. And I think I had a conversation about this with my brother, and he said, Well, just tell them that Santa is Sindhi and what he prefers to drink is black label Scotch whiskey. So they can leave some whiskey and some, uh, as we call it, I don't know what you call it in English, but it's chevro, like it's this sweet snack, a salty snack that blends well with the Scotch. And I said, "You're crazy or what?" And he said, "It's okay. He's Sindhi Santa. You're Sindhi, right? So just go for it." And I actually sold the idea to my children, I think, and they decided to leave Santa Scotch and you know, and savory snacks instead. So this is the height to which we, try to blend into the whole scenario, whether it's Diwali, Christmas, or Halloween. And another funny one was when Black Friday became more popular, maybe about 10 to 12 years ago. My dad found it quite funny, and he would go against the norms, and he would say, "Today is Kala Jumma," and I would say, "What?" And he goes, "Everyone's out shopping because it's Kala Jumma," which literally translates to Black Friday in Hindi. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share those two silly things that came up to me.
One more thing that came up for me, Goldie, is that I don't know if you know about this, but the way that uh, Christmas is celebrated in Japan, maybe you're familiar with it, is with this whole KFC as a thing.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I know that it's a huge thing,
Yeah.
but
They eat KFC for lunch on Christmas Day, and there's something also to do with fishing or going diving, where this big fish symbolizes Christmas for them too. I mean, there's lots of different things that happen across the world which we're so unfamiliarly acquainted with. And I think that's what it is, right? The meaning of Christmas is viewed through such a multifaceted lens, and it combines various cultural, social, personal perspectives. And the truth is that the world has become smaller, and capitalism has encouraged the economy of most countries to shape its contemporary meaning. Um, so, gift giving and festive shopping play significant roles. Many do view this aspect as a way to express love and appreciation, obviously for family and friends, even if it's a concern, about over commercialization persisting. In many households, including mine, Christmas has become a time for family gatherings where, the emphasis is often placed on the togetherness and creating memories rather than strictly adhering to religious traditions. It is viewed as an occasion to bring generations together, albeit through the exchange of the famous Secret Santa gifts, which is something that's come up a lot in the last 2 decades. And on the note of gifts, I want to do a sidebar, and I do request at this moment our listeners to give us the gift of your subscription to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our audio platforms. Your kindness with a review or a comment will be deeply appreciated in this time of kindness and gift giving. Okay, so full pun intended. Ultimately, Christmas today definitely is characterized by a balance between traditional and modern interpretations. I think enabling individuals and communities to celebrate in ways that resonate with them, whether it's through religious observance, family traditions, or just a focus, as I said, on kindness and generosity. So, on that note, we would like to wish our listeners happy holidays in the true spirit of our value for inclusivity. Whether you celebrate this holiday or not, the air will certainly breathe an end of year spirit that will be the theme of next week's episode. With that, we've come to the end of episode 13 of Mind the Gen Gap podcast. I've been your host, Goldie.
And I've been your co-host Lakshan. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and tuning in all the way to the very end.
Muchas gracias y felices fiestas.
Ooh, so fancy. Have a wonderful week ahead if you are celebrating. Even if you're not, have a great week ahead because we'll see you next week.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.